did plan to actually film this Q&A back in Melbourne, or Melbourne, but I actually did get called out in the day I was planning to film this Q&A, and next thing you know, I'm in Phuket, so here I am. Unfortunately, it was so rushed, I didn't get a chance to sort of start the vlog. It would have been great to actually vlog this Phuket trip, because it was so rushed and so last minute, I didn't really have a chance to sort of start the vlog and everything like that. I literally had to pack my bag and go straight to the airport and get on the plane and fly to Phuket. Good morning from Phuket, friends. It's funny to think that 12 hours ago I got a phone call, and now I'm in Phuket. It would be cool to obviously do the Q&A outside or something, but my room's actually right by the pool. Actually, let me show you that. Right by the pool, as you can see. And yes, the lens is, just like in Indonesia, the lens is fogging up. Anyway, next time I'm in Phuket, I will start vlogging and I will take you on a full Phuket trip with me. But anyway, without further ado, welcome to my first Q&A, or question and answer. I actually thought I'd do something a little bit interesting, or what I thought would be interesting. So I put a Snapchat out the other day and I asked you guys to actually send me questions in video form on Snapchat. I'll go back to the very first one I got because, you know, I think that's fair to start with the first person who was first to send me a question.
Okay, so my question for you is, how many physics exams do you have to sit to become a pilot? Goodbye!
And there's not exactly a specific physics exam during aviation studies. There's more things to do with aerodynamics and things like that. To get your PPL, there's an aerodynamics component to that PPL exam. CPL, there's an aerodynamics specific subject there, or exam to pass. So I guess to answer your question, there's not a specific physics exam, but there is, I don't know, maybe 2 exams that sort of have physics components in them directly, and then everything else sort of maybe has a little bit of physics here and there. But yeah, honestly, if I can get through it, you can get through it for sure, because yeah, physics was not a strong suit for me.
Hey Nick, I wanted to ask, what's your favorite thing about being an airline pilot?
My favorite thing about being an airline pilot is literally just getting to fly to different places around the world. As I said, I think I'm very blessed to be doing this at such a young age, and I don't take that for granted at all. So yeah, I love it. To be able to, every week, to be able to travel internationally, yeah, it's a blessing for sure.
If you weren't a pilot, what would you be?
I was studying audio engineering before I started my aviation studies. If I didn't do that, or if I didn't move into learning how to fly, I probably would have continued down that path. And basically audio engineering is, or what I loved about audio engineering anyway, is recording in the studio and things like that, so I probably would have pursued that.
Hi Nick Priest, I am a huge fan of you from France, and I definitely want to know how can I increase my flight hours after having my ATPL to apply in an airline company. Thank you.
Cool, thanks man, thanks for watching, appreciate that. And hello back to France. So after getting an ATPL, yeah, the cadetship is obviously the quickest way, but if you don't want to do a cadetship, or they weren't around, or they're not in your country, what I would suggest, now you have an ATPL, a lot of people go and get an instructor rating, which is probably the cheapest way to do it. Well, you obviously have to pay for instructor rating, but then you get employed as an instructor. So you're actually earning money being an instructor, and you're building flight hours or command hours, which is basically at the end of the day what you sort of need to get into an airline. Or go flying for wherever you can, basically, any sort of charter company or anything like that, and just start building hours.
Nick Priest, first of all, thank you so much for your amazing content and all the work that you do. It's literally amazing. My question is, what are some of the most hardest moments and the most amazing moments that you experienced through the process of becoming a professional pilot?
The hardest moments, I mean for me personally, to be honest, because I came into the cadetship knowing very little about flying, was getting my PPL, which is a private pilot license. Yeah, I mean for me, it was a totally new experience. It was actually quite a big wake-up call. I knew the course was going to be intense and everything would move quickly. And we were kind of just thrown straight into it, and from day one it was just go. The most rewarding moment for me, every pilot I think still remembers this day, is the first time they flew solo, which is when you get checked out by your instructor and you do one circuit in the circuit area at your local airport totally by yourself. So a circuit is basically taking off by yourself, doing a circuit, coming back and landing, which yeah, I still remember that day. It was yeah, it was crazy.
Hi Nick, I love your videos, and I just wanted to ask you, what is your biggest inspiration?
Thank you, and thank you for coming on this journey with me so far. I really appreciate it. To answer your question, my biggest inspiration, this may sound a little bit deep, but I just literally want to live my life to the full. I do believe everything I said in my video, like if you're not happy with what you're doing in your life right now, like change it. I just don't want to get to the end of my life and be wondering what if, basically. I don't want to be thinking, what if I took that chance? What if I risked that? What if I took that opportunity? So I guess my biggest inspiration is literally not wanting to look back on my life later on and be wondering what if. So always making the most of every moment and every opportunity and just living life to the full. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
How many flights a month do you have, and how did you pay for flight training?
How many flights a month do I have? It varies, but at the moment I'm roughly doing 3 or 4 trips a month. So they typically go for 2, 3, 4 days, and then we have a few days off and then do another trip. So yeah, roughly 3 to 4 trips a month, but that varies. How do I pay for flying training? I briefly touched on that in my last video, but within Australia, we're eligible for educational funding from the government. So I was able to get a loan which covered most of the flying training costs. And then on top of that, when I was studying audio engineering, I actually was working part-time as well. So I had savings that I could use and put towards the flying training.
Excuse me, but why did you call it a Q&A? Q&A. Number one thing.
Okay, no question.
Hi Nick. First off, I love your videos so much, and my question is, where's your favorite place to fly out to? Hi.
Well, thank you, I appreciate that. My favorite place to fly out to, I mean, you guys have probably already seen the vlog, but Hawaii. I literally love it. The weather pretty much is never bad there. Our hotel is like right on the beach. The hotel has a good gym. There's good food around, so yeah, probably Hawaii.
How do you deal with jet lag?
Good question. I kind of just sleep when I can, to be honest with you. If I'm doing a later flight, I personally try to stay up late the night before and then sort of sleep in or get up late the next day, so then I'm sort of prepared, or my body's sort of prepared and ready to stay up for that whole flight if it's later on in the day. And then dealing with jet lag, yeah, I just kind of sleep when I can. Like when I get home, typically on a Hawaii flight, for example, we get back into Melbourne late in the afternoon, and that time I've been awake for probably 18 hours or something like that already, and I literally just want to go to bed. But if I go to sleep then, I'm gonna wake up at like a random time in the morning, and then, you know, my body clock's gonna be totally out of whack. So yeah, I guess to answer your question, I sleep when I can, and I just try to force myself to get in the time zone that I'm in as soon as I land, basically. Yeah. Well, thank you, I appreciate that again. Am I coming to Europe anytime soon? I've actually booked in leave next year to come to Europe, because yeah, I haven't been to Europe yet, and that's somewhere I really want to go. So at the moment there's no solid plans, but I have booked in annual leave next year to come, so yes, keep an eye out for that.
Hey Nick, my name is Drew. My question to you is, do you have a plan on moving country when you're older? Europe maybe?
Yeah, okay. Interesting question. I guess, do I plan to stay with my current airline? I mean, at the moment, I enjoy who I fly for, so at the moment I plan to stay with them. But in saying that, I'm not opposed to moving countries. Yeah, I have some good friends who flying has taken them around the world, and I have some good friends based in other parts of the world, obviously. Yeah, I'm not opposed to moving countries to fly, for sure.
As a pilot, do you get much choice on which destinations you fly to?
Do I have much control over my flights? Not really, to be honest with you. Crewing basically controls where we go. We are allowed to bid for trips each month, but there's no guarantee that we'll get them. In saying that, probably 8 or 9 times out of 10 that I bid for a trip, I typically get it. But that's only 1 out of 3 or 4 trips, so yeah.
Hi Nick, out of all of the countries you've been to, which one has been your favourite so far and why? Hi Nick.
Ooh, tough question. Okay, now I've got to remember all the countries I've been to. You're putting me on the spot. My favourite place so far has probably been South Africa. I went on annual leave again there last year with one of my good mates and had a great time. Going on a safari was an unreal experience, and yeah, I absolutely love South Africa. If you want, I did vlog my whole trip in South Africa, which was probably, yeah, about 12 months ago now, so feel free to check out those videos after this one if you want to see my trips in South Africa.
This is a question for you, Nick. What's your favourite airplane model?
I'd have to say the Boeing 787 because that's what I fly.
Hey, what's up, Nick? I was just wondering if you speak any other languages.
No, I actually only speak English fluently anyway. I speak a little bit of French with Mercy, and a little bit of Indonesian because I learned that in high school. A little bit of Japanese, but not enough to really hold a conversation. So yes.
Yo, how's it going, Nick? I just wanted to ask you a really quick question. I wanted to ask you, how are you coping with like the pilot life, or do you like it or not, or what's? Yo, how's it going?
Right now, I guess I feel like I'm kind of settling into it. Based on that question, maybe the whole work-life balance thing. I think at the moment, I mean, I'm kept pretty busy even when I'm not flying, with doing other things outside of that, which I think is good. It's good to probably have other hobbies outside of flying and things you do. But yeah, at the moment I think I'm coping pretty well. Thanks.
I just wanted to say, how do you stay so motivated and dedicated all the time? Oh, and here's a little compliment to make your day. Yeah.
Well, thank you. How do I stay so motivated? In one of the previous questions, it kind of carries on from that. I literally just want to make the most out of every day that I have. And yeah, I mean, that's probably a pretty simple, basic answer.
Hey Nick, I was wondering where your first flight was on like with passengers. Thanks, Henry.
So my first flight with passengers was actually to Tokyo.
Do you make your own workout plans, or do you get them from somewhere or somebody? And where?
The question was, do I make my own workout plan or get them from somebody? I actually do make my own workout plans. When I first started working out, which was probably about 6 years ago now, I actually started gymming with friends who had been gymming for a year or two prior to me, so I was kind of just following what they were doing. Yeah, I kind of just developed over the years my own workout routine, sort of what works for me. At the moment, I'm currently doing an upper-lower split. Upper body, lower body, upper body, lower body, upper body, and then having best rest. I find at the moment that's working best for me, especially flying internationally, because with time zone changes and day changes, I find that's best for me with my workout routine. At least for the moment anyway. I'm always kind of, I like mixing it up to keep your body kind of shocked and things like that as well. So.
Hi Nick, I just wanted to ask what other piloting jobs are out there other than the passenger transport?
Yeah, so as I answered in the previous question, there are plenty of other jobs out there if you don't want to fly passengers or things like that. For example, there's being a skydive pilot, although you are kind of flying passengers. You could become a cargo pilot, like, you know, UPS or FedEx or something like that. So there's actually no passengers on board, you're just flying packages around the world. Or even locally, you could work for a charter company, fly packages locally. Yeah, there's plenty of other jobs.
Actually, I'm also doing my CPL license from New Zealand. Just want to ask how you manage your aviation and fitness.
Well, keep up the good work. I'm sure you're killing it, and yeah, it won't be long before I see you in the skies, I'm sure. So how do I sort of maintain the balance? When I was going through my training, initial training anyway, it was, as I've said, pretty intense. So first and foremost, the flying did come first, so I did have to kind of make the fitness secondary, obviously. I probably still gym maybe 3 or 4 times a week when I was flying. If I had, you know, a big exam or check ride coming up, I did, you know, potentially miss out on the gym to make sure that I was going to pass those. Apart from physically working out, I think it's actually really good mentally to go into the gym and actually switch off for an hour or hour and a half, 45 minutes, whatever it is. And just sort of forget about everything else that's going on, and it's a really good mental break. So yeah, if you are going through training, obviously which you are right now, you know, at least 3 or 4 times a week I think would actually be really healthy for you as well. And I guess the more you do it, it just becomes a part of your lifestyle, so you don't really think about when you go to the gym, it's just kind of in your daily routine. Sort of, yeah, it just comes with consistency.
Nick, I was wondering what's your favourite place to fly that's outside of Australia, and what was your worst flight ever, where you had like the most problems, or just do you remember that was your worst flight?
Yeah, so the first part of the question I did answer in the previous question, which the answer to that was Hawaii. The second and third part, so the worst one was on a 787. We're actually on pushback, and then we got a status message which actually required us to deal with that on the ground, which actually required a part to be changed. So we actually were grounded. So we were literally about to push back and fly back to Australia, and then by the time they replaced the part, we would have run out of duty hours, so we actually had to get off and go back to the hotel, which, yeah, kind of sucked, but that's the industry. The best thing that's probably happened is a similar thing. I've been delayed once where we actually got to stay in our destination for an extra night.
So my question is, what is the top 1 country that you want to visit and why?
Number one country I want to visit and why? That's a good question. As cliche as it may sound, I actually want to obviously travel everywhere. South Africa was big on my list, which I've already said, which I've done. The next big one on my list, as I've also said, is to do Europe, although it's not a country specifically. I will definitely go everywhere, for sure, in my life. But to answer your question directly, probably the place I'm most excited about going to is Bora Bora, which I think is part of French Polynesia. I may be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, sorry. Which I'm saving to go for my honeymoon. Whenever that will be, one day when I get married, yeah, I'll go there for my honeymoon. Hopefully my wife will want to go there too.
Hey there, Nick. My name is Cha, and I'm from Sri Lanka, and I'm a pilot myself. And I was just wondering what it was like when you did your very first solo. Like, what was going through your head?
Yeah, I'm sure we all remember that day pretty clearly. Congrats on the flying as well. What was going through my head, to be honest with you, I was very excited and very nervous at the same time. Yeah, taxiing out there, I probably was talking to myself the whole time. Apart from doing the radio calls, I was like, all right, you got this, let's do this. The takeoff I was pretty comfortable with, but as soon as I took off and got in the air, I literally said to myself, all right, here we go, it's time, it's all on you. You now got to land this plane by yourself. So yeah, what was going through my head was just remembering everything I just learned and being like, all right, let's land this plane.
Hi, Nick is still taking questions, and mine is, what's your favorite thing about being a pilot?
My favorite thing about being a pilot, which I think I've answered already, is literally getting to fly different destinations around the world pretty much every week. Well, that is it for all the questions. Thank you guys for sending them through. That was fun. Hope you guys enjoyed that and had a little bit of entertainment or got something out of that. But that is it for this video. I'm going to conclude it right here. As always, if you guys have any questions, I'm active in the comment section, so comment down below any questions you have. And I've got a shout out to Tayrock, as always. If you guys are after a new watch, there's a link in my description box down below, and if you use Nick10, that will also save you 10% on checkout for that watch. They are actually about to release a women's line as well in the next few weeks, so if you are a woman and you're after a new watch, check them out as well. But thank you guys for watching, and as always, thank you so much for all the support. I really appreciate it, and I will see you all soon.